lot of work, a lot of good people,
Great
doing
people.
stuff. So that's how we get to
I see
it.
passion everywhere.
Yeah, good. Andy Kitchen here from Maple Hill Golf, and I am standing here with a very special guest that was able to come and visit us today on behalf of Callaway Golf. So standing next to me right here is Mr. Roger Cleveland. Those of you golf people in the world that pay attention to the history of golf and some of the club designs and wedges and whatnot over the years probably recognize that name. Definitely a legend in the golf business, and we're very excited to have Mr. Cleveland here today. I want to just ask him here a few questions as we stand here in the launch kitchen here and talk about some of the golf clubs and some of the technology and some of the things he's been up to, not only now but throughout the years. I'm gonna just pick your brain, Roger, for a second, and
It won't take long.
Okay, see what you have to say. So I guess first of all, how did you get in the golf business, kind of, and when, and what kind of got you into, or the golf club design, or that whole part?
Well, I was a collector of old clubs, hickory shafted clubs, and particularly patent clubs. So I started looking at design early. I started playing when I was 12, and played a lot of junior golf. Played some U.S. juniors and U.S. amateur. I went to school on a scholarship and continued. I love golf, so the passion is always there, and that started then. And the history, I wanted to, I love Bobby Jones and that history with him, and so I wanted to do something to remake or reproduce the Calamity Jane, his putter. So I went to the PGA show with it to try and sell it as a tee gift item. At that time, the wood manufacturers that were so good, particularly Wilson and Spalding and McGregor, had all left their primary bases and for cheaper labor. And it took about 70 steps to make a persimmon wood, and some of those guys didn't go along that really had the learning curve, and so there wasn't much good out there. And so there was a wood maker back home, and I got back and said, let's make a wood and go out and see what we could do.
Awesome.
So that's how it started.
And so from there, you started kind of designing a wood, and then I guess what was the transition or progression from there in terms of
Well, I took
other
those
clubs?
woods to the tour. I had a lot of buddies that were on the tour, new on the tour at that time, and they liked what I did, and so they started using them. And out on tour, I saw there weren't many new wedges that they were using. They were using older wedges, the old Dynapower 57. This is 1982 in that area, 81, 82. And so they were actually buying them in used bins. And I didn't want to copy that product, so I went out and got some ideas from what I liked and took them out to the tour, and they gave me feedback, and that was my test center of the tour. So we came out with some wedges. The 485 at that time became popular, and then the 588, which was really popular, and we became #1 wedge.
And those of you that aren't familiar maybe with those clubs, I've been in the business my whole life and started selling wedges probably, high school, junior high age in the 80s, and the Cleveland Golf Company 485 and 588 wedges. I know there's arguments today about, the Callaway models and the Titleist Vokeys and still the Cleveland brand wedges, but I feel like the 588 is the probably legendary wedge, probably the best-selling wedge of all time, and it literally had a run of, 20 years or maybe more than that. It kind of never went away because I feel like they had trouble improving upon it, you know what I mean? It was a good wedge forever, so that's pretty cool.
Well, we had some good input, and like you said, unfortunately, you don't have to have a real fast face in a wedge. In compliance, you have to have good grooves. We had good grooves. We had all kinds of stuff there. But I brought that to Callaway. We started doing wedges. What you have there is the latest opus, which I had a hand in naming. I like short names, okay, but I also like wine, so that was really good.
Makes sense.
Synergy there.
Exactly.
But this is a design that really, we did a lot of input from the tour. Dean Takel, who works for Callaway in this area and on tour, did a lot of input, and our guys did a marvelous job.
So how long have you been working with Callaway and working with their design people in terms of wedges and whatnot?
Well, I started 28 years ago. I started doing wedges right off the bat. I did the X12 iron, X14s and all that series, and I did a lot of forged irons. Yeah. Japan, the Legacy, I did which turned into, not a great name, the Diablo.
Right.
But the iron was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
And the X-Forge 13 was still being used, and the Legacy Black, which Stenson still uses. So there's some stuff out there.
Also, what I personally find cool is a lot of golf and a lot of golf business, in my opinion, is really catering to tour players, better players, lower handicaps, because of course they kind of steer the ship in terms of the golf business, and it's kind of what we all aspire to be, right? I mean, that's, who wouldn't want to be a great golfer and play on tour or play golf for a living? But some of the stuff he was just mentioning caught my ear. You know, Callaway particularly is known as a very good game improvement company. I mean, of course they make great tour stuff and high-end stuff and stuff for the better player, but for example, the X12s, X14s were some of the most forgiving irons for many years. I'm sure a lot of people out there remember them or had them or still have them in their garage or something, but just very forgiving clubs that are good not only for better players, but also for people getting into the game, people that need to get the ball up in the air, people that hit it on the toe, that hit it on the heel, hit it all over the face, that kind of stuff, you know.
We've been, AI is a really overused term these days, but we've been using AI or a lot of mathematics in working with the irons, particularly faces, obviously woods for sure, but we do that with irons for the game improvement especially. And everybody wants a little bit more speed. They want to launch it higher, and that's how you keep the ball in the air. And our guys have done a great job with that.
And you know, those of you, obviously Roger's right now with Callaway, and Callaway's been consistently turning out great wedges, not only that tour players and better players are using, but also things for the average guy. You know, like he was mentioning this Opus, this happens to be a new arrival here at Maple Hill, just came out, but it has its tungsten weight in the top, new spin gen face technology, and they just keep progressing, right? So there's so many rules and only so much you can do to a golf club, and I feel like not only yourself, but your whole team at Callaway has done a great job of like pushing the line and literally trying to get every last bit of distance, feel, spin. I'm sure it's really splitting hairs at times.
Definitely is.
Yeah,
well,
but
we added 2 grooves.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had to narrow there's all kinds of rules in the groove world. And so we narrowed them so that we had more exposure to edges. Edges of the groove is spin. And we have a special face texture on it. We have weight distribution. We lengthened the hosel for feel. And this is a great package. It doesn't take second to anybody.
And I truly believe that too. And we at Maple Hill specifically, and obviously other golf shops throughout the country, but we can fit you for these clubs. You can hit them over across the street at our grass range. We can fit you in the launch kitchen.
That is so key. So one of the things, you know, the technique on wedges, especially shorter shots in the pitching area from 30, 35 yards in, on your technique, you need to have a certain type of bounce or sole geometry. And if you can actually hit them, because we have about 4 or 5 different geometries, dial that in for you, it's amazingly good.
And as the saying goes, that's taking it from the horse's mouth.
Well, that's what we do on tour.
Yeah.
Everybody has, I mean, there's a pretty ideal technique, but everybody's a little different. And based upon the turf conditions that you play, the sand conditions that you play, you can dial that in with those.
I guess the last thing I was just going to leave you with is, first of all, to say thanks.
Oh, sure.
What an I wanted to just ask you what you think about Maple Hill.
Well, this is my first time here.
Took the little mini tour there for a minute. Yeah.
And I think I've met all 111 employees, I think, which are terrific. The passion around here is amazing, but it is a spot that starts with 3 and 4-year-olds outside, you know, introducing them and family to golf, to the very best there is. And so come here. This place it's big, and you're not going to miss an opportunity. They have every club there is.
Pretty much, I know.
Their inventory is amazing. Fun to be here.
Yeah, well, again, thanks a lot. Roger happened to be here while we're doing our junior program today, so you know, stores hopping and everything's going on, and online salespeople and customer service and fitting and all that stuff. So I'm really happy that you got to kind of experience us.
Let me just say, to the employees, they're so positive and knowledgeable, and that's what you need.
Thank you again for coming in today. Callaway Golf, Roger Cleveland. Thanks to them. Thanks for making the trip. I realized you could have shot out of town, but you chose to come up and hang out for the day. So that's awesome. So
my pleasure.
Yeah, I hope people enjoyed that. Very interesting stuff. I'm sure you can find more information about him on the internet if you want to get some more details on his life's work. If you want to get fit, come to Maple Hill Golf. We're happy to fit you 7 days a week, all year round, and enjoy the rest of this great golf weather.
Yes, beautiful day today. Thank you.
It is, you bet.